Welcome to the Marriage Mission Podcast, where our mission is to take your marriage from surviving to thriving. Today, we're going to talk about how conflict in your marriage is actually a good thing. I think there's a myth out there that a lot of people believe that the less conflict you have in marriage, the better. And we've found in our experience that it's actually the opposite.
There's a big difference between conflict and contention. No matter who you're married to or how long you've been married, there's always going to be things that come up that you disagree on or that you're trying to figure out. No matter what phase you're in, you're going to have to be figuring things out. So there's going to be conflict, but actually, conflict is really healthy. I heard a marriage counselor once say, if there's no conflict in your marriage, then one of you is probably not getting heard or not saying anything or just trying to move on without voicing how they truly feel. And it's actually unhealthy. So conflict is good. Contention is not good. So fighting, putting the other person down, saying things like, you always do this, you, that's unhealthy. But being able to talk about things in a healthy way actually is better for your marriage. Studies actually show that the healthiest marriages bring up things sooner. And so instead of saying, oh, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to bring up another fight. I don't want to do this. I'm just going to push it back. And then 6 months down the road, some little thing triggers and it's like, oh, you explode. Like, I'm so frustrated with this, and this. But studies show it's actually healthier to talk about it much earlier on. So if you do have something that's bothering you, to be able to have that healthy conflict and healthy communication, to be able to bring things up and to work through things earlier is better.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I feel like the temptation is to slide it under the rug because, when conflict arises or when something happens that you're frustrated about or uncomfortable with, it's tempting to want to push it aside and not deal with it because we naturally don't want to deal with conflict. We want everything to just, go smoothly. We want to be happy. We don't want to have any conflict. But whenever you do that, you're taking the easy way out in the moment, but it's something that usually will always come back afterward. Like you said, something else will happen in the future where something similar happens and you feel the same way again, but now it's bigger because it wasn't a one-time thing. Now it's a two-time thing or a three-time thing or a 37-time thing. And you're right. It's easier to explode and to let it come out in an unpolished or angry way when if you deal with it right off the bat, you can do it calmly and in a good way.
And then there's the other end of the spectrum where you feel like you have to nitpick everything.
Yeah.
And micromanage, and oh, that kind of bothered me. I need to go tell him. Which I feel like maybe at the beginning of our marriage you erred on the side of sweeping it under, and I maybe erred on the side of, we need to sort this out and talking about it too much. And so just like everything else in life, there's a balance, and it's just healthy to stay in the middle. Talk about things in a healthy way. You don't need to micromanage, but if something really is bothering you, to be able to talk about it. And later, usually, not right then in the moment when tensions are high. But I just feel like it's high love, high expectations. And we talk about that a lot in parenting and in marriage, but having a high love for each other. So compassion, gratitude, keeping that at the forefront, seeing the good in each other, but then also having high expectations for your marriage and not letting things happen that you don't want. Marriage isn't something that just happens.
Yeah, for sure. And to go back to the high love, high expectations, if you think about it on an XY axis, on the vertical line, you've got high expectations. And on the horizontal line, you've got high love. And like you said, the goal is to have high expectations and high love. If you just have high expectations, then your spouse is just going to get frustrated. Or if you just have high love, then there's not going to ever be any growth together or improvement. So the goal is to have both high love and high expectations. And that way you have a lot of love and kindness and warmth in your marriage, but you also are growing and improving together.
Yeah, for sure. Which brings me to our next subject, which is fighting in marriage. When I'm talking about fighting with Brandon is actually really good. But I don't mean fighting against him. I mean fighting on the same team. And I feel like as things come up in your life, and they always do, if you remember that we're on the same team, to not be jealous of each other, to not keep score, which is easy to do and natural to do sometimes, but to say anytime either one of us does something for a marriage, we both win. It's not something that I did this today and you had a really easy day at work. You should have seen my day at home or vice versa. But that anytime I pour into our marriage and into our family, we both win because we're on the same team. And I think there's going to be different seasons where one of us is doing more. And that's just how it goes. It's never going to be 50-50. And so if we're trying to keep score, that's exhausting. There might be some days where I've had a really hard day with the kids. They're all sick. I'm trying to do all these things. Or there might be a day where I took them to the zoo and you had a really hard day at work. And that's just a small example. Life just kind of goes up and down, up and down. And it doesn't matter who's giving what percent. It just matters that we're doing 100% together.
Yeah, I think about it like a basketball team where on any given night, one player is usually going to step up, and maybe the star player is going to have a bad night and they're going to struggle. But that doesn't really matter as long as the players play together and they work together to accomplish the same goal, which is to win the game. It doesn't matter who scores or who passes or who doesn't. If the team wins the game, then they win, and that's all that matters. And so I think that relates to marriage. Like you said, sometimes you'll give more, sometimes I'll give more. But as long as we're both giving what we have and working together on the same team, we'll accomplish the goal.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many times where you and I won't see eye to eye on something. And I shouldn't say so many times because we actually see eye to eye on so much.
Most things, yeah.
Most things. But every now and then something will come up and we won't see eye to eye. And I'll be just feeling upset. And then I go, wait a minute. We're on the same team. It's me and you against the world. It's me and you against whatever comes up. Okay, let me think about this different. And my whole brain I can feel the neurons firing and I think completely different. And I realize, okay, so maybe he's feeling, and I start to have more compassion. I start to think about why you're maybe thinking the way you are. And then we come back together. And if we have that mindset, our conversation is totally different rather than, you're against me. It's okay. We have the same goal. We want each other to be happy. We want to be happy. We want our kids to be happy. We want to have peace in our home. Really, they're so aligned. And so if we can remember that, and when we do remember that, it goes so much better.
Yeah. And a saying I've always loved is the saying, would you rather be right or would you rather be married? That one goes through my head a lot when we're, in an argument or something, or we're not seeing eye to eye. And it does help me. I think it's easy to always want to be right and it's easy to justify in your own head that you're always right. And so when you can drop that and say, whether I'm right or not, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm married and that we love each other and that we can overcome whatever this, difficulty is, whatever we're struggling with or disagreeing on. And if we keep that our goal, then it helps. That always helps me.
I feel like a lot of times too, we're both right. And actually, most of the time, we're just seeing things a little bit differently. And I think taking the time to try to see things the way that they see them and working through them that way, it's usually no one's right, no one's wrong. It's just, you're just trying to work through something. And there's just nothing better than being able to come on common ground together or being able to compromise or being able to say, that's okay, you can do that this time. But no matter what, just feeling like that peace and happiness after conflict and being able to do it in a respectful, loving way, it's so wonderful. And I feel like we've come to a point that I'm not scared at all to tell you anything. When something's bothering me, I am so quick. Well, hopefully not too quick, but if something feels unsettling and it's not feeling right, I feel like it's so easy to tell you. And I just am able to be so honest with you. And that says a lot about you too, is because you're always willing to listen to what I have to say. And we always come to some sort of peace and we move forward. And that only comes from working through hard things together.
Yeah. There's also so much beauty in not only feeling like we can tell each other the hard things or things that are frustrating us, but to be able to rely on each other when we're having a hard time, like having that level of comfort and that trust with each other and that relationship. There have been so many things that I've struggled with and had a hard time with, and I've come to you and told you, and you've just lifted me and helped me and supported me, and it's just been awesome. So I think being able to have those hard conversations and go through the hard times also allows you to be able to access the flip side, which is all the good that comes with a close relationship and having trust in each other.
Yeah. Keep having those uncomfortable conversations and they start to become not very uncomfortable anymore.
Yep.
They get easier and easier, and you realize you're both human and you're both going to make mistakes. But if you tell each other right off the bat, you never feel betrayed. It's just honesty and vulnerability and so much joy.
Yeah, I agree.
So, those are our tips on fighting with your spouse, but fighting together as a team.